Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Absolutely Podcast, the podcast specifically designed to help women defeat diet culture and live their dream healthy lifestyle. On today's podcast episode, I'm going to be talking directly to the women that maybe are working out right now, maybe once per week, maybe 7 times per week, and they still are struggling with feeling like they don't look like they work out. This is a very common issue that I hear from a lot of women that they are putting in all of this work and they still have no results to show. And they are maybe sweating at their Orange Theory classes, they're doing the burn boot camps, and they're like, what the heck is going on? Why am I not getting leaner? Why am I not getting more toned? Why do I not look like my friends that maybe work out once per week or don't work out at all? And I'm working out all the time. It's a very frustrating space to be in. And so I'm going to be talking about how to actually look like you work out and the strategy that goes into that, because I promise you, I work with so many women that are in that exact position where they're like, why don't I look like I work out? And we tweak a couple of things, and then, like magic, they look like they work out and they're confident and they're excited to finally be seeing results from their workouts. And their friends start to notice, maybe like, oh my gosh, girl, like you're looking amazing and finally looking like they work out and like their dream physique that they want and have wanted to have for a long time. So that's going to be today's podcast episode. But first, before we get into the main topic of today's episode, I am going to give my high and low of the week, which I call my rose and my thorn for the week, and also my favorite of the week. So without further ado, let's get right into that. So as far as low for the week goes, I really had to think about this one, which is good. We don't want to have a low right off the top of our heads. But my low for the week is such a first world problem. I honestly almost didn't even talk about this because it's honestly kind of lame. But my low for the week is that I wasn't able to take a hot shower for a couple of weeks because I got laser hair removal, which was a high last week. I know I put that as my high last week, but they told me not to go into warm water for the first 7 days after getting it for whatever reason. So I wasn't able to take a shower. And then I got Botox done. Here's me just with these cosmetic procedures, but I got Botox done and she said, don't take a hot shower for a couple days. So I was without a hot shower for literally like a week and a half. And let me tell you, as a girl that is chronically just like a little cold slash just loves a warm shower, I love a little bit of warm therapy. It was a little rough time. I really missed my hot, scalding hot showers. And so that was just a little bit of a low of the week and slash something that I literally did to myself. So why am I even complaining about? But I really just love my hot showers. And as someone that lives in Arizona and it's a little bit cold here, and I feel like my blood is thin since living here, whenever it's just a little bit chilly, the one thing I want to do is take a hot shower, and I haven't been able to do that. But now we're so back. We're so back, baby. So that was my low of the week. My high of the week, I have a couple highs for this week. So, high, my dad came over and built a grill for me. So that was really exciting. I finally have a grill at my house, so I utilize that, don't you worry, to the best of my ability. I made steaks 2 nights, and so that was really fun. But I have been loving my grill and so grateful he got that for me for Christmas. So thank you, Dad. And then my second high of the week was a couple of weeks ago, I posted a TikTok basically saying that I want more friends that are golfers and I want more girlfriends that golf, because I would just kind of jump on to random tea times with guys. And I was like, hey, I really need to make some girlfriends that golf. I have like a couple here and there, but I posted a TikTok basically saying that. And I got so many comments and I started a WhatsApp chat with all of these girls. And actually, 4 of us went golfing on Saturday and they were so nice and so fun. And I actually just created like an Instagram and TikTok. So trying to just like get more girls involved in this little golf group here in Arizona. So if you're happen to be listening to this randomly and you want to be in this group, let me know. But yeah, it was just so much fun. They were so cute, so good, and just fun at just being in the golf group. And it was so much better than golfing with some random men that treat me like a zoo animal. It was a fun time. But that was my high of the week. And then my favorite for the week was Botox. I got it done last Tuesday and I fear that I am now addicted. I went all 27 years of my life not getting it. And I know I'm young and I probably don't need it, but let me just say that it just makes your skin so smooth. It makes it like glass. I literally just keep walking past myself in the mirror and looking at myself and being like, who is she? She looks amazing. And I literally just got a tiny bit in my forehead and a little bit like under my or whatever by my brow to give like a slight brow lift. But I was nervous because I went to a new girl here in Scottsdale. She was amazing, by the way. And if you want her name, let me know. But I just cannot believe I went my whole life without getting Botox. And it is for sure my favorite of the week. And I am addicted now. And I don't know if I can survive without it. That's dramatic, but it really does make a big difference. So that's my favorite of the week. Okay, so now let's get into the episode of why you don't look like you work out and how to actually look like you work out. And first and foremost, let me tell you that this is not a motivation issue. This is not a consistency issue most of the time. It is a strategy issue. You are doing the wrong things to actually look like you work out because there's a difference between working out to be fit, healthy, heart healthy, and then also there's a difference between wanting to get lean, toned. It is a very specific strategy to be able to get there. And so we're going to be talking workouts. We're going to be talking nutrition. We're going to be talking about daily habits that are holding you back from creating that lean, athletic, damn, she works out look. And this is not going to be anything to do with like extreme dieting, tracking super meticulously, no shrinking yourself. This is seriously just lifestyle things that small tweaks that make a big, big, big difference. So let's talk about first, like what looking like you work out actually means. And so when people look at someone that like you feel like they look like they work out, typically they have muscle shape. And so you look at them and maybe you look at their arms and you're like, oh my gosh, that girl looks so toned. Maybe you look at her legs and her leg muscles are kind of showing, or maybe she has like a little bit of visible ab definition. And with that as well, like those women are probably not doing workouts that are like very much so like sweat focused. They're more focused on shaping their body. And so that's one thing we're going to be talking about is instead of just working out to sweat, we want to actually work out strategically to shape your body. And that's what's going to give you that very like lean and toned look. And there is definitely a difference between just like burning calories and building muscle tone. Those are two very different things. And I think a lot of women are so focused on burning calories that they are unable to look like they actually work out because they're so focused on burning calories and not focused on actually building that lean muscle tone. So we're going to talk about how to build a lean muscle tone, which of course you still burn calories when you're building the lean muscle tone, but you're actually going to look like you work out when your goal is focused around building lean muscle tone. So the workouts you're doing might be the wrong workout for your goals of actually looking like you work out. And there's a difference between just like working out to work out because you want to get a good sweat in, you want to be heart healthier, you want to have a healthier lifestyle. I think that that is so awesome. But where I find a lot of women gets frustrated is that they're working out because they want to look a certain way and then they're not looking the way they want to. And a lot of times it's because they're doing the wrong workouts for the specific goal of getting lean and toned. And so some common mistakes that women make is that they are doing way too much cardio and they are not focusing on strength training. And a lot of women that come to me and they're struggling with not looking like they work out, they are also victims of maybe going to burn boot camps all the time or Orange Theory or doing group classes that are very much so cardio focused and they're not focused on actually building that lean muscle tone. So constant cardio, constant HIIT without weight training with progressive overload is just going to lead to burning calories. Again, good for the heart health, good for your overall just healthy lifestyle, but not great for building muscle. You can build a little bit of muscle, especially when you first start out with these group classes, probably. But if you want to maximize and if you want to actually look like you work out, these group classes are not going to be the best thing for that specific goal. And so another thing too is that maybe women, you are strength training and you're like, well, Abby, like I'm not doing group classes. I'm not just focusing on cardio. I am strength training. A big thing that I see is that women are strength training with zero structure. Maybe they're going into the gym or they're going into their home gym, they're picking up some weights, they're doing a couple sets, and in their brain, they're like, well, I'm lifting weights. Why am I not seeing the progress? But the way they're lifting the weights, the form of how they're lifting the weights, the strategy of how they're lifting the weights is really not conducive to those health and fitness goals and the physique goals that they want. And so a lot of women that I work with, they're come to me and they're either doing the group classes or they're strength training at home, and they're not seeing the results they want to physically on the outside because they're not doing this thing called progressive overload. So this is how you actually build lean muscle tone. You have to up your weights or up your reps every single week with the workouts you're doing. You cannot be bouncing from workout to workout and expecting yourself to see this great progress. This is a big thing I see with women, is that they're doing different workouts every single week because they get bored. I get it. It's annoying to do the same workouts for 4 to 6 weeks at a time. But when you actually start seeing results from those workouts because you actually stick to the same program every 4 to 6 weeks, I promise you're going to thank me when you are actually seeing the results from that. And so every single week, this is why I love the app that I use. There's obviously so many different fitness apps out there that are strength training focused. But when I'm programming workouts for myself or my clients, I use my app. And every single week, I'm looking at how can I either up the reps or how can I up the weights on these workouts. And that is how you're going to build muscle tone, is through progressive overload and just being very intentional with your workouts. You have to repeat the movements, you have to get stronger every single week in order to see that progression. And that is why some of these strength training focused group classes don't work, is because you're doing different movements every single week. So your body doesn't ever have a chance to adapt and to have this thing called progressive overload happen, because you're just doing random movements every single week. And again, great for your heart, great for getting a good workout, good sweat in, but it's not the most advantageous thing for getting lean and toned specifically. And then the last thing maybe is a weird thing that you skip or you see on your workouts and you're like, yeah, I'm not going to rest. Not resting is completely killing your results when it comes to getting lean and toned. If you're not resting between your sets, you are failing your body the recovery it needs in order to build that muscle tone. And so I always encourage my clients, rest for at least 60 seconds to even up to 2 minutes between sets. I, of course, assign for every one of my clients rest times of like what I think is best specifically for that workout. But a good rule of thumb is at least 60 seconds. I know it's boring. Take a little couple of walks around the gym. We don't want to be using the rest time to be doing jump squats. We don't want to be using the rest time to be doing jumping jacks. That is literally the worst thing that you can do for your physique goals, is to not utilize that rest time, because what happens during that rest time is that's where your body starts to repair. And if we're not able to actually use that rest time for your muscles to repair, your muscles are not going to build. And honestly, that rest time, you should feel like you need that rest time. I always tell my clients that come to me and they're like, do I really need to be resting in between my lifts? I tell them, like, you're probably not lifting heavy enough, because when I am done with a set, I am gassed. Like, I need that 90 seconds. I need that 2 minutes in order to rest on a leg day. And so you really need to utilize that rest time to your advantage, or else you are really going to struggle to see results. And I think that there's this misconception in a lot of women's brains where calorie burning, getting a hard workout in, that does not equate to effective. Hard does not equal effective. Hard, of course, could equal effective, but for most people, when they're like, oh, that was a really hard workout, I feel super sore after, that doesn't necessarily mean you got the best workout in for building muscle tone. I would say, like, if I went and did a CrossFit or a burn boot camp right now, I would say that workout was hard because my body's obviously not used to it. But hard does not mean effective towards building the physique that actually looks like you work out. A lot of these workout classes, they make money off of individuals, maybe like you that are listening, because they program hard workouts and you leave thinking that was really hard. But just because it's hard doesn't mean it was the right thing for your physique goals and what you want to achieve. So that's my spiel on workouts. Definitely workouts can be a big proponent of why you're not seeing results. But let's say you're progressive overloading, you're doing all the things that I just mentioned. And honestly, you should be doing these two things in tandem. Like you can't have one without the other. You have to focus on nutrition and workouts. Unfortunately, I wish you could just focus on workouts and not nutrition, but that's not the case. So, muscle tone needs fuel. And one of the main things that I see with women is that they are not eating enough calories to build the physique that they want. Maybe they have been chronically dieting for years. Maybe they are in a deficit and they have been in a deficit for a while. When you are in a deficit, your body is not going to be primed to build lean muscle tone. And that a lot of times is a big reason why women struggle to see the physique that they want to see, is because they're not eating enough calories to be able to get to that physique point. Last week, I created an episode on reverse dieting. And so if you're someone that you're like, yeah, I definitely have been maybe under eating, or I don't even know if I've been under eating, maybe I would be a good candidate for a reverse diet. That would be an episode I really, really, really encourage you to listen to, because I talk about how to reset your metabolism, how to reverse diet, which also in turn helps you to build this lean and toned physique. And a lot of women are missing this, and they think when they come to me or when they are chatting with me in the DMs that they need to lose body fat, when in fact they actually need to be increasing their calories and building muscle. When you lose body fat, you just become a smaller version of yourself. But when you start to lose body fat and build muscle tone at the same time, which is called body recomposition, that's where you build the physique that you really want and think that you are trying to achieve. A lot of women just think they need to slash their calories and lose body fat to look lean and toned, when in reality, they get to that point where they maybe do cut their calories, they get lower in body fat, and they realize that they don't even look the way they want to because they didn't have that lean muscle tone that they built throughout the years. And so that is something that under eating has robbed a lot of women, is that they're like, okay, I'm eating low calorie. I still look like crap. I now feel like crap. It's this perpetuating cycle. Now I've gained it back maybe. And it's just really frustrating to be in. So reverse dieting can help a lot of women with that body recomposition, which is losing fat and gaining muscle at the same time. And if you're someone that is in the camp of feeling like you just can never lose the last 5 to 10 pounds, I would say you probably don't need to lose weight. You actually need to build lean muscle tone, which will make you look a ton better, speed up your metabolism, and you don't even necessarily need to lose body fat. I probably sound crazy to you, but I promise you, a lot of women that I work with that need to lose 5 to 10 pounds, they actually don't need to lose 5 to 10 pounds. They just need to put on lean muscle mass and eat more food. And it's a crazy concept, but I promise you, that's what's holding you back. And it's society that has taught us that we need to not eat. We need a diet. We need to do all these things in order to see our goals, which is simply not the case. Another thing we need to make sure we're doing is eating protein. And I think a lot of women get so scared about strength training and eating protein because they don't want to get bulky. I promise you, your fear of getting bulky is exactly why you don't look like you work out. That was a mic drop right there. But I promise you, if you let go of that fear of getting bulky, because you're not going to get bulky, it's really, really hard to get bulky unless you are doing drugs, unless you are literally tied to the gym, tied to your macros every single day. Like, it's going to be really hard to get bulky. But we do need to make sure we're doing those things to build lean muscle tone, like having 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. That is what I recommend if you want to optimize your results when it comes to building muscle. Having 1 gram per pound of body weight, at least like lean muscle mass, if you're someone that is maybe a little bit overweight currently, lean muscle mass. So for instance, like I weigh around like 145 pounds. I eat 140 grams of protein. So that's like around 1 gram per pound of body weight. So that's what I would want you to shoot for. And then also, we have to learn that carbs are not the enemy. Carbs are actually a very important tool when it comes to getting to your physique goals. A lot of women, again, are under eating, they're not having enough protein, and they're not eating carbs because they're scared of carbs. Carbs help you build muscle. Your body's preferred energy source is actually carbohydrates. So when we're not feeding your body carbs, your body is not going to be primed to build muscle. And we want your body to be primed to build muscle. We want to make sure that you are building muscle and holding on to that muscle mass, and carbs are a really, really, really big part of that process. And what happens when you are working out, doing those hard workouts, Orange Theory, I'm just like knocking on Orange Theory a lot today, but Orange Theory, burn boot camp, spin classes, what happens when you're doing those and you're not eating enough is that you start to maybe have that like skinny fat look, even dare I say, because you're getting smaller, but you're not filling out. Like you're not looking leaner, you're not looking more toned, you're just getting a little bit smaller. And so with eating enough, training consistently, making sure you're getting enough protein and carbs specifically, you are going to start completely transforming your physique and looking like you actually work out. And so that is the nutrition side of things. Again, I think a great episode to listen to would be that reverse dieting podcast. It is literally just the one right before this. And then there's also another side of the equation that a lot of people don't talk about, because I think the sexy things when it comes to health and fitness is the workout routine and the nutrition and what are my macros. But what a lot of people do not talk about are the habits that are blurring your results. One thing that a lot of people that do these hard workouts struggle with is having high cortisol and chronic stress. And when your stress levels are really high, your body is going to be more inflamed. It's not going to want to lose body fat. It's not going to want to build muscle. And I can think of one client specifically right now that started out with me, and she was doing a lot of HIIT cardio. She was doing a lot of hard workouts, and she was just very inflamed. And the first thing that we did was pare back her training volume and her specifically cardio volume. And she literally immediately dropped like 10 pounds of inflammation. And that is because when you're constantly putting your body in this stressed out state, your body doesn't understand the difference between being chased by a bear and going into a Barry's boot camp class and being screamed at and having to run a ton. Like your body does not like being in a stressed out state, especially women. We do not operate the same as men. Those workouts might work actually really great for men because they don't have the same chemical makeup as us. As women, we cannot afford to be doing these workouts all of the time. And we honestly, the training volume and the sheer stress that these workouts put on our body is not worth it just from that aspect. Sure, if you enjoy doing this from time to time, that's totally fine. But you have to make sure your nutrition is on point. You have to make sure your other lifestyle factors are on point, or your body is going to hold on to so much extra stress, so much extra inflammation, and it's a really hard hole to crawl yourself out of physique wise. When you're in a very inflamed state from doing workouts that you think are good. Like in your head, you're like, I got such a good workout in going to that Barry's boot camp class. But what your body is saying is, holy moly, I am so stressed out right now. I'm going to hold on to all this extra inflammation because my body is so stressed and I feel like I was just chased by a bear. It's not conducive towards that goal of wanting to look like you work out. Another thing that causes people to have excess inflammation and not be able to see progress is poor sleep. If you're not sleeping enough, same thing as resting in between your workouts, your body is not able to properly recover. And when you're not able to properly recover, you're going to hold on to extra inflammation. Sleep is a very silent but deadly thing when it comes to your health and fitness goals. If you are not sleeping, you'll probably notice you're not going to see results. There are clients I've worked with where literally the only thing that we change is their sleep hygiene and their sleep habits, and they drop weight instantly. When you're not sleeping, your body is stressed. And sleep is actually where your body builds muscle, it's where your body loses body fat. And if you do not sleep 7 to 9 hours per night, that is a great place to start out, literally to lose body fat. I know it sounds crazy, but a lot of people are like, no, I'm going to sacrifice a few hours of sleep in order to go to my Barry's boot camp in the morning. That's probably doing you more harm than good. I would actually say that it is doing you more harm than good. I would rather have you stay in bed and sleep than stress your body out by going to that Barry's boot camp. I'd rather you stay in bed, do a 15-minute workout instead, and be done with it for the day than go to that Barry's boot camp. And sleep is so important. Another thing is overtraining. Like if we're overtraining, if we're working out 7 days per week, you are really, really, really going to struggle to see the progress that you want to see. And so I recommend for my clients working out, doing a strength training workout 3 to 5 days per week. 99% of my clients do 3 to 4 workouts per week. I do 4 workouts per week. I find that's a great mixture of not doing too much where my body is then holding on to inflammation. Funny story, when I started working with my second coach, this is like 4 years ago now, I was working out 5 days per week. And one of the first things that she did for me was go from 5 workouts per week to 4 workouts. Immediately, I saw so much more progress because I was actually giving my body enough time between those workouts to be able to recover and to actually build that muscle. So sometimes less is more. I would say more times than not, less is more when it comes to workouts. And a lot of women feel like they need to be working out maybe daily in order to see results, when in fact, working out daily is probably killing your results and making you look like you don't work out. Another thing that could be killing your results is not focusing on things like your digestion, eating whole foods, and other inflammation markers that are a sign of your health. I am a big proponent of getting a look under the hood. I think that blood work is really great. I think that getting testing done, like GI maps or Dutch tests, are really great to see hormonally and gut wise where you are at. Of course, there's a lot of different basics that you need to address before doing this testing most of the time. But a lot of times your body is so inflamed and you're not giving it what it needs to heal from the inside out. And we're so focused on this physique goal and like wanting to get leaner, wanting to get more toned, that your body is literally just trying to survive. I'm going through my own gut journey process right now. And it's really amazing when you do start to really focus on your internal health markers and your inflammation levels and fueling your body properly and focusing on your gut and overall wellness, how physique goals tend to follow that. And so a lot of people are so focused on the workouts, they're so focused on eating in a deficit that they neglect their internal health. And if they got blood work done, maybe they look really good or maybe they don't look good. And their blood work markers show that they are very inflamed. It shows that they are like, no wonder why you can't make progress. Your cortisol is through the roof, or maybe your glucose is through the roof. Like there are so many different other health markers that do show more of a bigger picture of what is going on there. And that also could be a reason why like your body is holding on to more weight rather than leaning out, is that you need to take a little bit of a peek under the hood. And potentially these workouts, like one thing that could be showing up on like your blood tests is those like inflammation markers. Potentially maybe cholesterol is high because your stress is super high. Maybe your hormones are all off because you have been putting your body in such a stressed out state for so many years. For instance, like thyroid levels, like maybe your thyroid is extremely off because you've been chronically dieting for forever. Of course, you're not going to be able to build muscle and lose body fat if your thyroid is super off. So there are so many things that do drive your hormones to go into a poor place. And I think that's where it gets kind of dangerous, where people are like, oh, it's just my hormones. Like there's nothing I can do about that. No, your habits got you to this place where your hormones are at now. The stressful workouts, the under eating, the eating food that is garbage, like that's what got your hormones and your metabolism to the place it's at now. There's some undoing and some healing now that we need to be able to do to get you to a spot where you are feeling better. But again, this isn't just something to like use as an excuse. Symptoms are there for a reason. It's because we need to make changes in order to be able to not feel those symptoms and to feel better. And that also creates, of course, that physique that you want to have. And I will say too that a portion of it is consistency. Like you can't expect to see these amazing results overnight. Like it's going to take time. It's going to be a process. With changing your physique, especially when it comes to losing body fat and gaining muscle, this body recomposition that I've been talking about, it takes a while. It takes patience and it takes strategy. And so don't expect to wake up literally 2 weeks into this goal and be like, I look exactly how I want. The longest physique changes that I tend to see as a coach, and just like with myself as well, using myself as a guinea pig, is muscle growth. Like muscle growth takes a lot of time, but that shouldn't discourage you from not getting into the gym. Like you're going to slowly but surely see this progress. But I think a lot of people they want to see this instant result. They want to see this instant fat loss. But in reality, like that's not even what they want to see. Like the version of themselves that they want is actually building muscle and losing body fat. It's not just like getting to this quick fix goal. I think a really good example with this is the people that are maybe on GLP-1s or on Ozempic right now, where they are losing body fat really rapidly. And of course they're losing weight, but they get to a point where they're like, oh my gosh, like I don't even really look that good. And it's because they didn't have or didn't keep the muscle mass on them to be able to have that lean and toned look. Like, yes, they might be skinny, they might be small, but they're not looking like the physique that they were always dreaming of. And so that's kind of where that disconnect is too, as well, is like you're getting smaller, but you're not necessarily getting fitter. Okay, so all in all, I think my main message of this podcast is that more is better. Just because your workouts are hard does not mean that they are effective towards looking like you work out. I think that a lot of us could definitely use a second to just sit down and reevaluate our routine and maybe take a couple of these tips that I mentioned in this podcast. I think a really good place to start, though, is asking yourself, am I doing strength training workouts? Am I sticking to a routine for more than 4 to 6 weeks? Am I doing progressive overload? And being real with yourself. I mean, I'm not saying you have to quit all of your group classes. Like, if you enjoy them, keep doing them. But maybe have one group class per week and then do 3 lifts instead of maybe doing a group class every single day. I think another great place to start, if you're not already doing it, is resting. Having a couple of rest days per week. Like, that is huge. Incorporating your rest times during your workout. These little things that it's not requiring you more time, it's just requiring a different strategy, is really what's going to move the needle forward towards making you look like you actually work out, giving you a very athletic, lean and toned look. And so those were kind of my main takeaways. And then, of course, nutrition, making sure you're eating enough, making sure you're not constantly living in a dieting mindset or a dieting state. Reverse dieting, again, last podcast was a great one to listen to after this one. And making sure that we are also taking care of our internal health. When our internal health is in check and we're not so fixated on physique goals, you are going to look so much better, but you're also going to feel so much better. And that is truly what radiates. And so I hope you all took something from this workout. I know that there were a lot of different points I made here, but you're not lazy, you're not broken. You just need a little bit of different strategic inputs to be able to get to your goals, and just take it one change at a time. Maybe change one workout, change one nutrition thing, start getting more protein in, drink a little bit more water. Like, these little things add up, and you don't need to change everything overnight. Your effort deserves to be visible. Like, you deserve to have the results that you are working so hard for. And so why not make some of these small changes? Like, this is literally a matter of you looking like maybe you're somewhat fit to girl. Like, she is fit and works out. And so if you found any of this valuable, or if you want to send it to a friend, I would absolutely love that. Make sure to subscribe, like whatever platform that you are on, rate and review, and I will talk to you all next week. Bye.